Petrol prices have continued to climb past $2.60 a litre and diesel over $3.20. Supply disruptions are making lots of headlines, and in March alone, more than 15,000 Australians drove off in a new battery electric vehicle. Sales nearly doubled year on year, hybrids and plug-ins are surging too, and a wave of new Chinese and established brands are bringing longer range, lower cost options right when drivers need them most. Welcome to Plugged In Australia. G'day and welcome to Plugged In Australia, your no-nonsense dive into everything electric on Australian roads. I'm your host Jamie and this is episode 40. First up, a quick apology. I've missed the last week and a half of episodes because of Easter long weekend and school holidays, bit of family time and some downtime kind of got in the way, but we're back and fully charged with a massive rundown on everything that's happening while we were away. Today we're diving deep into the record EV sales numbers that prove the fuel crisis is accelerating adoption faster than anyone expected. We're looking at the new Forthing brand landing in June with its RAV4 rivaling Taikon 5 that promises up to 1,050 kilometres of range in the plug-in hybrid form. BYD has just confirmed pricing and specs for the CX-6 plug-in hybrid sedan and the Wagon that undercut everything in the Camry price bracket. Kia has dropped prices on the PV5 Cargo electric van that becomes Australia's cheapest electric commercial vehicle, and Tesla has quietly opened its 150th Supercharger site. These stories and more. Let's get into it. First cab off the rank will be the March sales figures. So March 2026 delivered Australia's highest ever EV market share with 15,839 battery electric vehicles sold. Now that's a 42% jump from February and roughly double the volume from March of 2025. Now total new car sales sat at 108,703 units. The whole market was down 3.3% overall. However, the BEV slice hit 14.6%, while petrol sales fell 20.8% year on year and diesel dropped 10.1%. Over the first quarter, petrol car sales are more than 25% lower than the same period in 2022. BYD alone shifted 7,217 vehicles in March, up 50% on the previous year, and enough to outsell Ford, Mazda and Hyundai, while just sitting behind Kia. The BYD C-Line 7 alone accounted for 1,970 deliveries. Polestar reported first quarter sales almost doubled year on year, with test drive numbers tripling and weekend rosters stretched to cope with showroom traffic. GWM Australia also logged a rapid increase in both electric and hybrid sales. And the trigger is pretty clear. Petrol prices climbing to around $1.80 a litre in early 2025, up to $2.61 a litre, I saw the other day at one of the local servos, adding more than $1,000 a year to the average driver's fuel bill based on 233 kilometres a week and sort of an average fuel consumption of around 11.1 litres per 100 kilometres. Global tensions in the Middle East and the ongoing Iran conflict have turned range anxiety on its head. Drivers are now planning trips around petrol availability, the same way EV owners always have. Online EV searches tripled between February and March. Car sales data shows the same spike, and new EV finance applications jumped 161% according to the Commonwealth Bank's figures. On the used side, Pickles Auctions reported EV searches up 111% month on month, 100% clearance rates, and almost half of buyers now under 40 years of age. Battery health data remains strong, average scores of 96 out of 100, and even high kilometre examples above 120,000 kilometres still scoring 88 or better. Quotes from the front line that really tell the story. Polestar Australia Managing Director Scott Maynard called it, quote, like a sale weekend every weekend, end quote, and said fuel security is now the pressing motive. It doesn't matter how much you pay for fuel if there isn't any. BYD spokesman Paul Ellis noted that the electric vehicles always make sense, but they are making more sense now because people can see the financial benefits. GWM Australia COO John Kett confirmed the rapid uptick in electric sales. Electric Vehicle Council Chief Executive Julie Del Vecchio highlighted that every EV on the road is reducing pressure on fuel supply while cutting household costs. Even the FCAI's Tony Webber acknowledged the surge, though he cautioned it is still too early to call it a permanent structural shift. Hybrids added another 17,953 sales, and plug-in hybrids 8,215, meaning the combined electrified tally is now regularly outpacing pure petrol in key segments. The surge is strongest in outer suburbs and regional areas where fuel prices bite hardest. However, apartment dwellers and renters are still feeling the infrastructure pinch, a point we'll come back to later. Overall, the data shows Australians are voting with their wallets, lower running costs, future-proofing against volatile oil markets, and confidence that battery technology is mature. Taikon Group is bringing the Dongfeng-owned Forthing brand to Australian showrooms starting June of 2026, kicking off with the Taikon 5 mid-size SUV that sits squarely against the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, the Mazda CX-5, Geely EX5, and the BYD Sea Lion 7. The Taikon 5, known overseas as the Friday or the T5, measures approximately 4,600mm long, 1,860mm wide, 1,680mm tall, with a 2,715mm wheelbase and 180mm of ground clearance, giving it almost identical footprint to the current RAV4. How convenient. 2 powertrains are confirmed. The range extender plug-in hybrid, also known as the E-Revs, which uses a 39.1 kilowatt-hour battery paired with a 120 kilowatt, 240 Nm electric motor, and a 1.5 litre turbo petrol engine, which produces 155 kilowatts. Electric-only range is 170 kilometres WLTP, stretching to a total of 1,050 kilometres when the petrol generator tops up the battery. Figures that comfortably beat many rivals' hybrid claims under a stricter WLTP testing. The battery electric version runs a 64.4 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate pack, feeding a 150 kilowatt, 240 Newton meter front drive motor for a claimed 400 to 425 kilometer WLTP. I will just caveat that number there that I did see there were some sources saying it was 340 Newton meters and some saying it was 240 Newton meters. So most of them did say 240, but I thought I'd just make that note there that it could be up to 340. Both variants are expected to price in the $40,000 to $50,000 drive-away bracket once final figures land closer to launch, undercutting established Japanese hybrids on running costs while offering proper plug-in capability. Forthing plans 4 models on sale by 2030, with the U-Tour People Mover tipped as the next arrival. Sean Gerard, Forthing Australia's national manager, said the brand arrives with compelling future models and that Atiko's experience introducing new marquees gives them a strong platform for long-term success. Australian buyers will get the same focus on new energy vehicles that have already made Forthing competitive in both China and Europe. The Taikon 5's combination of long-range, fast electric-only capability and competitive pricing positions it as a genuine alternative for families who want efficiency of electrification without compromising on trip flexibility. BYD has confirmed local pricing and key specifications for the Seal 6 plug-in hybrid are available to order as of today, 9th of April 2026, with delivery starting shortly after. The mid-size sedan in Essential trim is priced at $34,990 plus on roads, making it the cheapest plug-in hybrid sedan on the market, while the Seal 6 Touring Wagon Premium sits at $39,990 plus on roads. That's also the lowest priced plug-in hybrid wagon available. Both use BYD's DMI 5.0 super hybrid system, built around the 1.5 litre Atkinson cycle petrol engine with the electric motors. The Sedan Essential runs a 10.08 kilowatt-hour battery for 55 kilometres of electric-only range and a combined 1,400 plus kilometres of total range. The Wagon Touring steps up to a 19 kilowatt-hour battery for 100 kilometres electric-only range and around 1,300 kilometres when combined with the petrol. System outputs sit at approximately 130 kilowatts for the Sedan and between 156 and 163 kilowatts for the Wagon, depending on what our final calibration is here in Australia. Some dimensions for the Sedan, they are 4,840 millimeters long, 1,875 mm wide, 1,495 mm high, with a 2,790 millimeter wheelbase, and the Wagon offers 670 litres of boot space with the seats up, and 1,535 litres with the with the seats folded. Standard equipment across both includes an 8.8-inch digital driver display, 12.8-inch rotating touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, 7 airbags, autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, child presence detection, and level 2 autonomous driving assistance. BYD Australia Chief Operating Officer Stephen Collins said the CX-6 continues the BYD commitment to offer Australians a range of advanced electric and intelligent plug-in vehicles that suit their needs and lifestyles. Positioned against the Toyota Camry Hybrid and the Skoda Octavia Wagon, the CX-6 undercuts on price while delivering significantly longer electric range and lower running costs, exactly the kind of value proposition that is fueling the current plug-in hybrid surge. I think these vehicles here definitely squarely aimed at fleets. When you think about like all of those New South Wales, I'm in New South Wales, so all of those New South Wales health vehicles, lots of Camry hybrids, lots of Corolla hybrids. These are the sorts of people that they're going for, those sort of clientele there. So those big fleets that don't really not got the charging infrastructure set up yet for full electric, but want to make this their baby step going into the plug-in for the next 4 or 5 years, and then they'll be ready to jump straight into the full electric. I can't see this being a massive seller for private, but you never know. Very small batteries, but it's definitely a step in the right direction, especially when it comes to those big fleet buyers. Let's continue. Kia has announced Australian pricing for the PV5 Cargo electric van, starting at $55,990 plus on roads for the S long-range model, and arriving in dealerships from late May 2026. Built on the new EGMP.S dedicated electric platform, the first in Australia, it uses a 71.2 kilowatt-hour nickel manganese cobalt battery, aka NMC, delivering a WLTP range of 416 kilometres. Power comes from a front-drive electric motor, producing 120 kilowatts and 250 newton meters of torque. Dimensions sit at approximately 4,695 millimeters long, with cargo volume up to 3,615 litres. Your payload is going to be between 530 and 700 kilos, depending on the exact spec that you go for, and towing capacity will be up to 1.5 tonne. The van has undergone Kia Australia's ride and handling program, specifically tuned for urban delivery routes and rough country roads, a crucial local adaptation that sets it apart from many direct import rivals. It undercuts the Volkswagen ID Buzz Cargo, the Ford E-Transit Custom, the Verizon Supervan, LDV, Renault and Mercedes equivalents on both price and running costs. The PV5 also won International Van of the Year 2026 and will be on display at the Melbourne Motor Show from the 10th to the 12th of April. For tradies and fleet operators looking for a zero-emission work vehicle without sacrificing range or practicality, the PV5 delivers class-leading value straight out of the box. Tesla has reached a significant infrastructure landmark with the opening of its 150th Supercharger site in Australia. Located in Pokolbin in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales, the new 8-stall V4 site is capable of up to 300 kilowatts and is open to non-Tesla EVs, continuing Tesla's rollout of public access. The milestone comes at a time when fast-charging queues have reappeared over the Easter long weekend, particularly at popular regional stops such as Cairn River. With EV sales surging 40 to 50% in March, pressure on existing fast-charging infrastructure is growing. The federal government's $40 million curbside charging grant and state programs adding more than 100 new ultra-fast zones in New South Wales are a positive step. But experts note that connecting new chargers can still take 12 to 18 months. Research from Sydney councils show curbside DC charging, so your 30 to 50 kilowatts, are used 4 times more than slower AC units, deliver 5 times more energy per day, and are more space efficient when paired with dedicated EV parking and 2-hour limits. Daytime solar-aligned charging and time-of-use pricing will be key to managing grid stress as adoption accelerates. Tesla's continued network expansion, now at 150 sites with thousands of stalls, remains a cornerstone of public charging confidence. All right, we're going to do a bit of a quick future model roundup for some of the stories that we missed while we were away. Starting off with Zeekr, which has confirmed the updated 2026 X specifications and pricing cuts of up to $10,000 for Aussie buyers. The rear-wheel drive variant is now expected under $50,000 drive away, with 250 kilowatts, 405 kilometers of WLTP range, and a 5.6-second 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. The all-wheel drive jumps to 365 kilowatts combined, with a 415 kilometers range and a 3.7-second sprint. Both gain sharper styling, new colors, heated seats across rows, a 14.6-inch touchscreen running the latest 5.5 operating system, a Yamaha 13-speaker audio, Zeekr AD, which is the advanced driver assistance, which will come with 5 cameras, 5mm wave sensors, and 12 ultrasonic sensors, plus remote parking. Fast charging is 10 to 80% in 18 minutes for the rear-wheel drive and 30 minutes for the all-wheel drive. We move to Mazda, which has released provisional specs for the CX-6e medium electric SUV, arriving later this year, built on the same platform as the Deepal S07 and slightly larger than the Tesla Model Y. It uses a 78 kilowatt-hour LFP battery and rear drive motor for more than 450 kilometers of WLTP range. DC fast charging 30 to 80% in 15 minutes is confirmed, with pricing expected in the mid-$50,000 bracket to undercut the Model Y. They have around 300 pre-orders at the moment and have already been taking on the related 6e sedan. And quite a few Mazda dealers are reporting strong interest in the SUV. Onto Toyota, and it has priced its first electric Hilux from $74,990 plus on roads for the SR cab chassis, rising to $82,990 for the SR5 pickup. It will use a 59.2 kilowatt-hour battery with dual motor all-wheel drive, producing 144 kilowatts and 468 newton meters of torque, delivering up to 315 kilometers on the NEDC cycle. Towing is rated at 2 tonne and sales are capped at around 500 units in 2026, and they will be focused primarily on fleet customers, with arrivals beginning in the second quarter of this year. MG will launch an updated MG4 very soon, featuring a refreshed interior with physical switches, a revised 64 and 77 kilowatt-hour battery option, rear-wheel drive motors from 140 to 180 kilowatts, and the X-Power dual motor at 320 kilowatts. Ranges reach up to 545 kilometers WLTP, and the entry-level urban variant is already available from around $32,000 drive away, with fleet pricing potentially even sharper. And finally, Ford has confirmed development of an affordable EV family on its new universal EV platform, including a sub $30,000 US, so about 44,000 Aussie dollars, electric ute targeted for 2027, and SUV and sedan variants in 2028. Designed by a skunkworks team of former Tesla and Formula One engineers, the UEV platform promises major gains in efficiency, range and charging speed while undercutting today's Mustang, Mach-E and competitive Chinese models. Ford CEO Jim Farley stated the company is committed to an all-electric, affordable vehicle to compete with Model Y and Model 3. And that's a wrap for episode 40 of Plugged In Australia. Plenty of new metal, record sales numbers and infrastructure moves all pointing to a genuine acceleration in the transition. So if you're thinking about going electric, the numbers and the options have never looked better. I very much appreciate you listening. Any feedback is always very much welcome. info@pluggedinaustralia.com.au. And we will catch you on the next one. And until the next time, stay plugged in and stay charged. Ci vediamo.